my goodness. I am so excited to be here today and to be doing this session with the community. I got to say, I look forward to this call every single week, guys. This is so exciting, and thank you for being here today. Today's topic is one that's near and dear to my heart. I love it. I'm a student of it. And so we're going to dig in really quickly here. And let me make sure that my slide share is working. And here's what I'm going to encourage. Today, we're going to be talking about leadership. So if you're on the call and you're really trying to build your leadership, I'm going to encourage you to do a couple things. Number one, go ahead and turn on your camera. Unless you're doing something weird, feel free to be on screen. That's okay. It also is really helpful to the speaker to be able to see you. That's awesome. But I love how you participate. Here's how you participate everywhere. Thanks, Mike. You're awesome. Laughing at my joke. Yeah, don't be pooping on screen. But other than that, we're good. And guess what? Today, we're going to cover a couple things. And I'm going to go ahead. Let me make sure my screen share is working. Got to double check everything. Boom. All right. We're up and rocking and rolling. Today, we're talking about building your leadership to achieve your goals. Building your leadership to achieve your goals. How do we achieve our goals with leadership? We're going to talk about that. Leadership is leverage, but leadership shows up in every single area of your life. Really quickly, who the heck is this guy on screen? If you haven't met me, my name is Jeff. I'm a top 1/10 of 1% growth leader at this company called eXp Realty. Led my team to over 50 million in my first 3 years in real estate. Former owner and CEO at a Keller Williams office. I was a chair of my department at a university before that, and I was a professor. And fun fact, I judged the National Trumpet Competition, Jazz Division with Wynton Marsalis back in my previous career. All right, there you go. If you stay until the end today, here's my big promise. I'm going to cover exactly how to use the concept of leadership and leverage that I covered today to get 100% of what you want in life and business, plus a bonus offer at the very end. Okay, so this is worth it, guys. I promise. We're going to dig in today. We're going to go deep, and I am excited. Before we get started, though, I do want to tell you, what the heck is this thing called the community? That's where you are right now. It's really exciting that you're here. I love that you're digging in. I'm going to go fast on this. We do events. We do open coaching hour every single week. We have coaches come on and coach all of our agents. It's incredible. Be there. We have Core 90 training. That's this. I love that you're here right now. We have Attraction Mastermind. It's a mastermind all about how to leverage your leadership to build a large organization, a team, your brokerage footprint. We have online courses about YouTube, listing domination, lead generation, building a team, etc. We've got tools and resources. It's led by top 1% producers, and it's all designed to help you sell a lot more homes. And I love that. Okay, so that's the community. Thank you for being here. We love that you're here. Today, here's what we're going to cover. We are going to talk about what leadership is, what leadership is not, the 4 levels of leadership, what's called meta leadership and the helicopter. We're going to cover empathy and what's really going on, Google Maps as a leadership model and what's called the GROW model of coaching, ask, listen, ask deeper, and repeat, which is what's called the flow, and value them to death. Leadership is pull, not push, carry more than your fair share. Leadership not equal to shark. Authenticity, vulnerability, and honesty. We're going deep on each of these. By the way, this is going to be really good stuff. We're going to give you a lot of actionable content today. Their goals bigger than your goals and doing the hard stuff. Okay, let's jump in. So first off, I'm actually curious just from a show in the chat, because this will give me a little bit of high participation. And again, leaders participate. How you participate here is how you participate everywhere in your life. So if you don't participate, that tells you a lot. If you are a leader, respond to this question. Are you a leader? That's interesting. A little bit of a meta question. Yes, 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 yes. Casey says yes. Mike says yes. Derek says yes. Who else we got? Christine Kite says yes. Steve Heron says yes. Emily Stagg, yes. Nancy Cruz, yes. Lexi Sanchez, yes. Kimmy Fernandez, Yeppers. That's my favorite one so far. Tyler, show up every day. Chad, yes. Scott, yes. Dude, we've got so many. Jordan, I am a leader. I love that. It's an I am statement. Joanne, yes. Kevin Rossioli, yes. Yvette Swinson, yes. Michelle McCormick, yes. It's so great to see so many amazing people on here. That's awesome. We all lead something. Yes, we do. Whether it's intentional or not, that's what's funny about leadership, right? We all lead something. Question is, how are we leading it and where are we leading it, right? Is it going up or down? Is it involve a flush, right? So that we're going to talk today about leadership and intentionality in our leadership, which is going to be really exciting. So what is leadership? It's such a weird word. We could look it up in the dictionary, but that's stupid. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to talk about what it is and what it's not. Sometimes it's easier to talk about what something isn't to define what it is. Leadership is pull. It is not push. We're going to talk about that today and how it works. I saw some nods already on that first one. That's fun. Leadership is show, not tell. It's question, not answer. It's about them, not about you. It's giving recognition, not taking credit. It's focused on values, not focused on money. It's energized. It's not sleepy and boring, FYI. All right, let's keep going. So today we're also going to talk about the 4 levels of leadership. If you haven't been introduced to this concept, I find this particular concept to be absolutely foundational and transformational for everyone. And by the way, if you don't currently think of yourself as a leader, quote unquote, my intent today is to help you change that, because I believe that the very first step to becoming a leader is deciding, right? Making a decision, raising your hand and saying, I am a leader, right? You have to identify as something to become the thing. Does that make sense? If you are sleepy and boring, you will be sleepy and boring. You will get sleepy and boring results. If you are an excited, energized, amazing, inspiring leader, then you will be all of those things, and people will start to notice. And when they notice, they will do what's called following. And leaders all have one thing: followers. It's an interesting thing about leadership. It's not possible to be a leader if ain't nobody around. Does that make sense? What are you leading? The ants? Come on. That's not going to work. All right. Level 1 of leadership is leading who? Lead yourself. How do I lead myself? Yeah, if you can't lead yourself, how are you expecting that you're going to lead anyone else? Well, I can't wake up in the morning and I can't do what I say I'm going to do, and I can't pay my bills, and I can't sell a house, and I can't this, and I can't that, but I should be leading people. Should you? Yes. The answer, yes. And the first person you should start by leading is yourself. It's your training ground. And by the way, it's the safest place to practice your leadership. The safest place. It's also the most important place, and it's the most foundational. We all have to come back to it all the time. How do we do it, Jeff? Here's how. Number 1, read books about leadership, about personal growth, about personal development. About 10 years ago, I stopped reading fiction completely. I haven't read a fiction book in 10 years. If that's a bummer to you, sorry, feel free to keep reading them for me. But I started reading nonfiction because I decided I was going to digest as much of that as was possible. And what I discovered is there's an infinite amount of value available to us right at our fingertips. And it's called books. And they are nonfiction books all about how to maximize human potential. And I find that fascinating in every field. Doesn't matter what you're doing. Attend seminars. What is a seminar? There's all sorts of amazing seminars. Reach out to me after this if you want some suggestions, but there's a ton, whether it's on personal development, personal growth, business mastery, et cetera, et cetera. There's a ton out there that you can consume and gain personal progress. And that personal progress is called personal leadership. You can meditate. You can DTFW. Go look that one up. You do the stinking work. Okay, that's what that stands for. You can do the work. I don't know what F stands for in there. All right. Use a schedule, right? Which means, thanks, Jason. You can wake up at the right time every day. You can follow a schedule. You can plug in. You can do the things that you say you're going to do when you're going to do them. You can do the most important tasks at the beginning of the day. You can do what's called eating the frog. If you've never read that book, Eat That Frog, it's an amazing book, tells you all about that. You can show up. What does that mean? We're going to talk about it today. What does showing up look like? And you can get results. Getting results, by the way, will be the byproduct. It will be the lagging indicator of all of these leading indicators that you focus on. All right, number 2, leadership level. So what do I do once I feel like I'm starting to make some personal progress and I have some personal growth going? Then we can lead other people. And only then. If you can't lead yourself, it doesn't matter if you try to lead others, they won't follow. And the harder you try, the more they'll resist, because you're not leading yourself and it's obvious. People are very intelligent and you have to give them credit for that. Leadership level 2 is leading other people. How do we do that? Well, I would recommend that you start, and we're going to talk about this today. I'm going to give you some amazing tools and tips that are going to really help with this second level of leadership in particular. Learn to coach, right? And by the way, the word coach, I'm going to kill screen share for a second. The word coaching has gotten completely destroyed in real estate. We assume that a coach is the person who's supposed to show up and tell us how to take a listing. It is not that. And I would encourage you to dig into pure coaching. Okay. And I'm going to give you a book recommendation today. You're going to have to hang on and wait for it for a few minutes until I get to that slide. But there's a type of coaching that does not require that I have achieved the thing that you are trying to achieve as your coach, right? And by the way, I'm not auditioning to be your coach today, but I will tell you that I think everyone needs a coach. And whether that's somebody that you hire, or maybe you go and you get a great book and that book acts as your coach for a while, but the coach should be helping you to maximize your potential toward your goal. But they should really be pulling the information out of you and simply increasing your awareness and accountability around that. Awareness, accountability, responsibility, those are the things that we're looking for in coaching. And the best example of this is, who coached the Bulls? Does anyone know when Michael Jordan was on the Bulls? Does anyone remember?
Phil Jackson, baby.
Woo, there it is. All right. So, and when he was coaching Michael Jordan, all right, when he was coaching Michael Jordan, was he as good at basketball as Michael Jordan? Not a chance. I got everyone on the call like, no way. Nobody is, right? How in the hell did he coach that guy? He wasn't as good. That's because that was real coaching. Real coaching does not require that you have achieved what you're trying to achieve. Why do I tell you this? Well, my optimism is that you are going to take this information and understand that your ability to lead others does not mean that you have already accomplished what they're trying to accomplish. Interesting topic, okay? It does not require that you be the superstar in the room all the time. It might require that you be a superstar at something in the room, however. Interesting there, okay? Let's get back to it. This is fun. All right, we're gonna string it all together today. I assure you that. All right, and by the way, somebody keep an eye on the chat for me and interrupt me if something's going on. Just be like, Jeff, somebody's got something cool in the chat. Hopefully it's cool. All right, number 2, ask great questions. Number 3, focus on their needs and wants. Demonstrate empathy. That means you are able to see things from their perspective and care. You're going to listen and remember. That's hard for some of us who are talkers, right? Myself included. Show up for them, stay in touch, care about them personally, and cast a huge vision. By the way, if you want to lead other people, your vision needs to be so large for yourself and others that everyone can fit into your vision. If your vision is like, I want to sell one more house, that vision is not large enough for people to jump on board with your leadership. If your vision is, I want to build an organization of 10,000 people who are selling 100,000 homes a year, that might be big enough. Might, I don't know. Depends on the person you're talking to. Your vision needs to be large enough that everyone can see themselves in the vision, because otherwise they won't view it the same way that you do. That's what vision is. All right, leadership level 3. So now you're leading a few people. That's awesome. But we're going to need to be able to lead through others. That's called leading an organization with leaders in your organization. This might have to do with EXP, but this could have to do with any area of your life. If you want to make an impact in the world, guess what? You can't do it onesies, twosies. Anyone you've ever heard about who's made a difference in the world led through other people. In fact, they probably went to level 4 as well, which is leading through culture. But level 3 is lead through other people. That means you are starting to create leaders and engender leadership around you. Let's be honest, it's what I'm working toward doing as we speak, is to help build other leaders in an organization that I care about, that has great culture and values. Interesting. All right. How will we do that? Well, we would teach people to coach, which I'm going to do today. We're going to teach them the Socratic method, which is questioning. We're going to teach great questions. What are great questions? That's awesome. We'll teach it today. Teach the GROW model. I'm going to teach you that today. Discuss leadership topics. Help them build teams. Guide using questions. Find their people's why, right? Go a level deeper. Help them to cast a big vision and realize it's not about you. And the 4th level is building through culture or leading through culture. And this means that you're going to build a coaching culture. You're going to build a culture of listening and caring. You're going to build systems that scale culture. You're going to identify key values that will help you scale. Values, that's a very important word here. You're going to feature your leaders, which we do every single week here in the Core 90 training. You're going to promote your culture as a win, and it is. And you're going to give credit away enthusiastically, right? There's a really great presidential quote. I think it was Reagan who had it on his desk in the Oval Office and said, this is a rough approximation of this quote. There's no, hold on. I'm going to find it. There's no top or ceiling to the Hold on. I need to find it, guys. This is such a great quote. I don't want to screw it up. There's no maximum, basically, measure to what a person can achieve if they don't care who gets credit. It's something like that. But basically, by giving away credit, you infinitely create exponential growth potential in yourself. If you're worried about credit, you are always going to limit yourself. Think about that. If you care about getting credit, then there is a limit to your achievement. And if you don't care about credit, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. Oh, I think my love just helped me. She said, there's no limit to what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. Thank you so much, Lexi. Yes, that is such a great quote. Lexi Sanchez for the win. All right, so there's the 4 levels of leadership. You need to be aware of them, because what happens constantly as you get in the pursuit of leadership is you're going to cycle back to level which one? Level 1. If you're not always focused on level 1, then levels 2 through 4 fall apart. It's your foundation. It's the foundational level of leadership is you. And if your leadership is faltering somewhere else, guess what? It's still you. It's always you. That's the trick here. It's always you. Leadership starts with the leader. So today we're also going to talk about what's called meta leadership and the helicopter. And the helicopter is my own exercise. It's a mental exercise that I'm going to take you guys through. And this allows you to get perspective. And perspective is so important. In fact, I'm going to give you my favorite Ratatouille quote in a minute as a total Disney nerd. Lexi and I both used to work for Disney. So I feel like I get to pull some of that in from time to time. All right. All great leaders possess meta cognition and meta awareness. Jeff, what the heck is meta? Is that meta like Facebook? No, no. Meta means a view from above. Really, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So metacognition, cognition means thinking. This means you're able to think above your thoughts. You're going to think about your thinking. If anybody just started to get a little bit of a nosebleed, it's because it's the first time you're doing that. But thinking about thinking, or thinking about thinking, right? That's meta. So we're just going up a level. And this is why I call it the helicopter, because when we try to go up a level, sometimes that's hard to think about, but a visualization exercise might help us. Meta awareness means I have an awareness about my situation, but like a third party would if they were watching it. How many people have ever been, I'm going to ask you this, how many people have ever been in a fight with somebody else in your life? A fight, like, I'm right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. Right? And in that fight, you have this brief moment of clarity where you're like, this really is dumb, what we're doing here. That's metacognition. That's meta awareness. In that moment, you had a sobering moment of meta clarity where you were able to view it like a third party would. Like somebody else walked and they're like, are you really arguing about where the sponge goes right now? Like that's what is important in your world, right? Like we've all had that dumb argument at some point in our life. Even if you have the most blissful life, you've had that dumb one. And then you had that moment of reality click in where you're able to see it for what it really was. And we're going to talk about an exercise right now that's going to give you that clarity more often, because my belief, my hallucination, is that if you can preserve that level of clarity at a higher percentage of your life, you're going to have a better life, you're going to have a better time, you're going to have better relationships, and you are definitely going to be a better leader. I promise you that. Okay, so what is entailed in the helicopter exercise? Well, I just want you to envision really quickly. In fact, with where you're sitting right now, just do this really, really fast for me. Everybody from where you're sitting, you don't have to close your eyes for this. I just want you to imagine kind of rising out of your body and being able to look down at yourself watching this webinar right now. Have a view of you. How interesting is that? Imagine being able to kind of levitate above yourself. I call it going up in the helicopter. And you can now look down at yourself. How do you look? How's your posture? How's your breathing? What's your level of engagement? Where are you right now? It's an interesting exercise, and we don't do it very often. And especially when you get into a leadership scenario, very often what happens with people is that they are much too much in the conversation, which allows their emotions to be tied to outcomes instead of being above the situation, which allows them to stay connected to the process and where the other person needs to go. So this exercise simply allows you to have some meta clarity. It's stepping outside your needs. It's looking from multiple angles. And my favorite quote from Anton Ego from Ratatouille is, "You provide the food, I'll provide the perspective." All right. So this is all just about having a little bit of perspective, rising above and being able to see things for what they really are. Because practice, by the way, in this regard, doesn't make perfect, right? You've heard people say practice makes perfect. No, it doesn't. Practice makes permanent. And if your practice in your daily life is never having perspective that's above or beyond yourself, then that becomes your permanent state. And your permanent state, therefore, will always be subject to the emotions of the people around you because you have no clarity. You're not able to rise above that moment. Does that make sense? Hit me with a yes in the chat if that makes sense for you. I'm just going to check in with you guys because some of this feels a little bit heady, but I want you to understand how important it is. I saw Deepak Chopra live once and he did that for a while. Very cool. I love that. Thank you for sharing. Joe says yes. Eddie says yes. Casey says yes. I think I called you Cassie a few weeks ago. I'm sorry about that. This is awesome. Yes. Derek Grosser is bilingual today. He says C. All right. Perfect. Yeah, we're in Puerto Rico over here, so that works for me. Thank you, sir. All right. May I have another? Keep going. Empathy and what's really going on. This, by the way, in my opinion, is a coaching superpower. Why are we talking about coaching? Because great coaching is great leadership. That's how that works. Great coaching is great leadership. We're going to talk about how to accomplish great coaching today, because I believe then you'll become a great leader. The shoes exercise, what does that really mean? I call it the shoes exercise. Really, it just means, what would things look like if I was in their shoes? That's the whole exercise. It's not that hard. You've heard of it before. I just like calling things something different so you'll pay attention. That's called the shoes exercise. Well, if I'm in an argument with someone else and I am vehemently arguing for my side and not listening to them, then I am not practicing the shoes exercise. I'm also not getting in my helicopter and rising above and listening to what their needs are. There's also a couple other things that are kind of showing up in my universe that are really not very productive or very helpful. And we're going to cover those today. Great leaders are able to rise above that, understand what the other person's needs are, understand what's really going on, what's harming them, what they're trying to accomplish, what their emotions are about. Lexi says leaders don't know how to do everything. They know how to help others do what they do best. And I agree. So we're going to shift our mindset today from with them to whiffed. What does that mean? What's in it for me is with them. And we're going to think what's in it for them. The second you are able to shift your mindset to that, by the way, you will take more listings, you will work with more buyers, you will get more referrals from clients and past clients and friends and family. You will also recruit more, you will lead bigger teams, your organization will dynamically blow up because you stop worrying about you so damn much. It's hard not to, right? But I'm in this thing for me, I know. But selfishly, you need to care more about them than you care about yourself. I'm going to repeat that. Selfishly, you need to care more about them than you care about yourself. That's an interesting statement, but it works that way. The coaching superpower with the really coaching method, I came up with this one, but this is fun. And I need a volunteer for this one. Is anyone willing to be coached for, 30 seconds to a minute?
Yes, sir.
Roll with you.
Oh man, I had a couple people say yes. Jason, you were first there, I think.
Yeah.
Jason, are you on there?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. All right. So Jason Giles, for anyone who doesn't know, is a mega top producer out of the West Coast, amazing, Albany, Oregon, and a coach. So thank you for being willing to be vulnerable for a minute. So Jason, tell me one thing in your world right now that's stressing you out, some issue or problem that you're facing that just is creating stress in your universe.
My 2-year-old. Stress, I guess really growth, right? Am I doing the right things? Am I giving back the way I want to give back? Am I, here's the real one. Am I setting the right example for my kids? That's what's stressing me out right now.
Now, I want everyone to notice something. Jason's such a great coach that he actually just did it to himself, which is hilarious. Normally, I would have to prompt that. He said, here's the real one, which means he's used to being coached and coaching. If Jason hadn't prompted that, I would have said, what's really stressing you out with that? And this is what's interesting. When I add the word really to any question like that, and in fact, I'll do it anyway. Jason, what is really stressing you out? with that focus on your 2-year-old and wondering if you're really kind of nailing it there? What's really stressing you out there?
This will go deep, buddy, but after going to the shareholders and then listening to some speakers and stuff, it was am I setting that right example that when they get where we're at and our age, our season, did I set them up for success, or did I set them up to fail, or not know what to do? This is a tough one, buddy, but that's what's stressing me out. Am I setting the right example for my family and for the ones around me? So
okay, so pause there, Jason. First off, thank you for your vulnerability. Everyone give Jason a round of applause. That's amazing. And I want to point something out that just happened with Jason. Jason's incredible. Man, that's awesome. Thank you for playing big, playing full out. So did everyone notice how his first answer was comfortable, right? He gave a good, comfortable answer. And when we add the word really, what happened? We immediately went into emotional significance and motivators that are much deeper. That one word by simply repeating the question. So in an argument, let's pretend Casey and I are in a big heated argument. We're yelling at each other, right? We're both really grinding it out. Okay. And then I could stop and ask myself, what is Casey really upset about here? And from my side, am I going to get a better answer than the one that I was currently seeing? Yes. Could she ask herself, what is Jeff really upset about here? Could I ask her, hey, what are we really arguing about here? That word really provides a deeper level of clarity. Could I be meeting with a listing client and they say, we have to get sold in 30 days and we're super stressed out about it? And could I be thinking to myself, I don't necessarily have to say it out loud every time. Could I be thinking to myself, what are they really stressed out about? That they'll miss out on being able to buy their next house, probably, right? I can look for that really moment. And that's my opportunity to dig deeper. Chad says, I just accepted his first answer as being the answer. When you added another layer of information I didn't expect. And that is how this works. And that is great coaching. So if you are working with a member of your team, or you're developing your organization, or you're just talking to another friend, and they say, I'm working on this thing and it's stressing me out and blah, 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 blah. And you could say, wow, now what's really stressing you out about that? What are you really working on there? What are you really upset about? Whatever it is that their thing is. And that is going to take you a level deeper. I'm telling you, if you don't think that's a superpower, try it 3 times this week and watch your friends get emotional and vulnerable with you in a way that wasn't possible before. That one word will help you a ton. I got a bunch more of these today that are going to really help. And I'm going to need some more participants later. So brace yourselves. All right. Google Maps as leadership. I don't know. I just try to keep this stuff engaging. Hopefully this is helpful, guys. It's about getting some perspective and moving in the right direction. So this is where we're going to cover what's called the GROW model of coaching. If your job as a leader is to help people get where they need to go, think, how does Google Maps do that? It needs to know 4 things. Where do you want to go? Where are you now? Which route would you like to take? And would you like to start? Interesting. So now let's cover what's called the GROW model of coaching. GROW is a coaching method that was developed by Sir John Whitmore. Yes, he's a sir. That's awesome, right? It's from the UK, so he's cool that way. They get to put that stuff on there. And he wrote a book called Coaching for Performance. That is my book recommendation for today. Go get it on Amazon. Please get the 5th edition. It's amazing. He has passed since that edition came out. So it's I believe, going to be the final edition, and it is epic. You must read it. And GROW is an acronym. It stands for goal, reality, options, will. Look at this. Goal, where do you want to go? Reality, where are you right now? Options, which route would you like to take? Google Maps. Will, would you like to start? What will you do? And this can be used as a conversational framework for coaching that's based on leadership. So let's watch it in action. Who would like to be a volunteer? Be quick. Now we're all scared.
I can volunteer.
Hey, Joanne. All right, let's do it. So this is Joanne Graham, also a monster top producer. out of Oregon. We got a lot of Oregon people on here. This is awesome. I love it. And Joanne, so we're just going to walk straight through this. Tell me really quickly. I'm going to need to unmute you real fast.
Don't unmute me.
Don't unmute you. Oh, because you're on the audio on the other one. I got you. Cool beans. So Joanne, what is one thing in your universe that you're trying to accomplish right now? What's a goal?
Well, I'd like to create a situation where all of my income is not directly dependent on my personal efforts.
Awesome. So creating some leveraged income.
I can only do so much, and I'm getting tired.
Awesome. Okay, it's a great goal, and it's highly specific. So that's her goal, right? Did I give her that goal? Anybody? No. Right. So Joanne, where are you right now with that goal? Like, what's your reality right now?
For the most part, 99% of my income is directly dependent on mine and my team's direct efforts.
Awesome. Great answer. And by the way, you'll notice she's searching for the information. She's really thinking about these answers. That's awesome. And I appreciate that. Joanne's incredible. So she always plays full out. Joanne, if I were to go a layer deeper right now, just while we're staying on this reality bit, I would ask something like, how does that make you feel that that's kind of where you are at the moment?
I don't like it. I mean, I've had this goal for years and years, and now I'm, like pushing 60, and hello, when is this going to happen? And so I'm starting to feel that pressure of, if things don't change, then I'm going to be 70 and then 80. And then I'm going to be going, if you come to my open.
That's awesome. I hope that that's not true, Joanne.
Please, Lord.
All right. So yeah, as I think I said to somebody on the call this week, nobody looks sexy at 95 years old doing an open house. So prove me wrong, but if you guys find one, let me know. So yeah, at some point we want to do that. That's great. Thank you for sharing. So that's goal, right? We all covered that. I'm just going to talk through this with Joanne on the call. Reality. She just gave me her reality and kind of how she feels about it. Options. So then I would ask her, and we're not going to go super deep into this because it could take the rest of the call. I would have her come up with maybe 5 options on how she could get there, right? And then from there, I would say, now, which one of those options is the most appealing? Which one do you think that you could really do? Which one's appealing? Which one do you really want? Which one do you want to tackle? And then she would tell me which one she wants to tackle. And then I would say, how committed are you to really doing that? And she would say, I'm very committed. And I would say, awesome. By when? And what specifically are we going to use to measure your progress along the way? Isn't that awesome? We can literally do that. And I'm going to unspotlight you here, Joanne. So by the way, everyone give Joanne a round of applause. Thank you for playing full out. Joanne's incredible. I really appreciate you guys being willing to participate when I need participants. What's interesting about this particular method of coaching is it can be used in your whole life all the time. If you have a spouse, a family member, somebody that you're in conflict with, ask them what they want. If Tyler and I were in a big, nasty fight, I could say, Tyler, what do you really want here? Well, man, I just want you to hear me. Awesome. Well, how are you feeling right now? That's reality. I feel like you're not listening. Well, what are our options? How do we move forward? You could say, well, if you would just be willing to hear me out. Okay, great. I'm willing to listen. If you're willing to talk, and let's just bring it down for a minute, I will hear you. That's a full growth cycle right there. GROW. I promise you that will change your life if you start implementing it all the time. Keep an awareness of it. Put it on a Post-it note above your desk space. It's going to change your entire life. GROW. Ask them what their goal is. What are they trying to accomplish? What do you want? What do you need? What is it that you want? And you're making it about them. It's a beautiful thing, but it allows you to move forward. And then from a coaching stance, I want to find out, where are they right now? How do they feel about that? How would they feel if they accomplished the goal, right? We want to actually understand the feelings on both sides so that they can feel the gap between those two sets of feelings, the two states. We might actually, if I was going for a whole hour, we might really lean into those emotions. Might go through a visualization exercise on how would it feel to accomplish those goals? How would it feel in 10 years if you're still right where you are right now, Joanne? Right? Isn't that interesting? And you could lean on that emotion. We could make it more intense. We could make the backpack heavier and make you more tired, to make you more likely to run away from pain and go toward pleasure. and accomplish your own goals. Guess whose goals they aren't? Mine. Guess what bad leaders do? Tell you what your goals are. Oops, that's not the grow model. All right, here we go. Let's keep moving. So the loop is what's going to help us to converse with people at a very high level. And whether you're running a team or a growth organization or your own company that's outside this or whatever you're doing, the loop is going to help you a ton. And you can use tons of models inside this, but the loop is going to be important. Ask, listen, ask deeper, which means you listened, and then repeat. Let's go into this. Ask. I would ask any question. Hey, how you doing? Could be a question. Well, I'm doing okay. I'm going to listen. I might have to prompt for more right there. But a lot of times people say, it's been okay. I'm having a bit of a tough week because of this, that, and the other. Ask deeper. Now, based on what they said, I can ask a really question. I could use the shoes exercise to understand where they're coming from. I could use the grow model to really run them through a full cycle. I could use another meta perspective, meaning I'm thinking about my situational awareness with them to ask a deeper question. But the point is, I listened to what they said, because here's what really happens with most people. Is that they listen on a surface level, and then they're just waiting to do what? Talk again. I'm guilty of it, by the way. I do this constantly and I have to correct myself. I'm fortunate to have one of the best partners on the planet, and she helps me to correct that behavior because she knows I'm building awareness around it. We have permission in our world to help each other to continue to improve. First level of leadership. Together, right? But a lot of times when somebody's talking, what are you doing? You're thinking about what you're going to say next. Ugh. Why do the majority of cold listing appointments fail for most people? Because they're not using these, they're using this. Well, I told them all the right things. I bet you did. But you didn't listen to all the stuff they said. And had you and really asked, what's really going on here? What do they really need? How are they feeling? What's their emotion? What's their motivation? Then you would have gotten down to the heart of it. You would have spoken straight through the cloud, right into their soul. And they would have been like, wow, it's like we're made for each other. This is crazy. And you've had that experience. How many people have ever had that experience where you just nailed it at an appointment and the person was like, yeah, obviously I'm working with you. They signed right on the spot. How many people have had that experience, right? For whatever it is. If you're in sales, that's one of my favorites. Mike Holt raised his hand. That's awesome. Yes, that is an incredible moment, right? And we absolutely love that feeling. If you want that feeling more often, guess what you should be doing? 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them in proportion. There we go. That is exactly what you should be doing. Let's keep going. This is such good stuff. And by the way, here I wrote chunking up. This is another coaching strategy, and it's about building meta it's about going up a level in terms of significance. Here's how that works. Let's say I'm speaking with, actually, hey, I see Kimmy Fernandez on here. Kimmy, do you mind participating with me for a second? We'll practice chunking up together. This will be good.
What do I have to do?
What do you have to do? All right. So Kimmy, what's one thing that you're trying to accomplish right now that's important to you?
Well, since I just joined EXP like a month ago, I'm trying to really dive in here and learn as much as I can and use all the tools available to me and build my downline and sell real estate.
That's awesome. Woo, so many things. Let's pick one of those. So you mentioned like build your downline. What's important about that to you?
Well, I feel like there's just so much to offer, and that I wish I would have listened to Joe Yates sooner and John Sellers. But I was in a spot in my life where I wasn't ready yet. So I just didn't. But everybody that I'm talking to understands how excited I am because I'm sharing,
awesome.
And
what will it do for you when you accomplish that?
Well, I think it's going to give me a more competitive edge, more greater satisfaction in life. And I love helping people, not just my clients, but I love helping the other agents too.
That's awesome. What's important to you about helping other agents?
It makes me happy to see them do well.
Why is that important to you?
I don't know. It just is. I feel like once I get a hold of something great, I want to share it. So
sharing with others is important.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Okay, we could keep going here, and eventually Kimmy would be talking about her parents and her childhood. I promise. So here's Kimmy, you're awesome. Everyone give Kimmy a round of applause. It's Kimmy, everyone. Woo! Thank you very much. You are a rock star, and I'm so happy that you're here with us. I've been seeing all of your amazing successes already out there on social media, and I can't wait to see what's in store for you. So I jotted down a couple questions I was asking Kimmy and put them in the chat here. What's important about that to you? What will it do for you when you X? What's significant to you about that? These are called chunking up questions. And what they do is we're really trying to get Kimmy to speak more deeply about what motivates her inside of her heart when it comes to each of those topics. And what we're really doing is by chunking up, we're digging down, right? That's really what it is. We're looking for something that's more intrinsic to her soul, to her emotions, to what really motivates her as a human being. She started off with building a downline. That's great. But does that have meaning to her as a person? No. But what do we get to? She likes to help other people. She likes to give back. She likes to provide, right? Those were things that are outbound, not inbound. Those are things that aren't just a thing. They're a feeling. They're an emotion. They're a motivator. If we keep going on that path, we could get to something truly emotional. And I didn't want to make Kimmy go into that much of a vulnerable space on her first call. However, what's fun about this is if you're in a leadership position, could you see this being valuable to you? To be able to find people's true motivations quickly. Did it feel conversational, Kimmy? Yeah. All I was doing was asking questions, though. I didn't make any statements. Kimmy was making the statements. I was asking questions, follow-up questions. What's important about that? Why is that significant? What does that mean to you when you do that? Why would that be important? I could keep going for a while on those, right? And by doing so, what I'm really doing is I'm elevating our conversation into a position where it has heart meaning to her, not just brain meaning. Brain meaning is, but I'll forget about it later. Heart meaning, I might remember that conversation for the rest of my life, kind of a thing, if we go far enough. Okay? It's amazing. It's a really, really great strategy. I didn't come up with it, so I'm not taking credit, but I would encourage you to take it, internalize it, and start leveraging it in your own world as a leader. Okay, our next topic here is closely connected, and this is called value them to death. All right, you gotta love people to death. I love you to death. I value you to death. What does that mean? We're gonna give value first before we give leadership second. We're going to give value first before we give leadership second, right? It's so important. And I got a great comment here from Derek. Listening to what they say and not thinking about what I'm going to say next while I'm listening. That is so key, right? It's so important here. And I really appreciate you pumping or pushing that one home. All right. So value them to death. First off, leadership is not a title. My title is Jeff. Your title is Kimmy or Tyler or Josh or Jacob or Joanne or Eddie or whatever. That's your title. If you're worried about titles, you're worried about yourself again, which means you're worried about credit, which means you're going to lead fewer people and lead them more poorly. Stop worrying about your damn title. Start worrying about how much value you are providing to other people and to the marketplace. If you provide more value than anyone else, you will lead more people than anyone else. It's incredible how it works. Number two, this one might be shocking, but if nobody's following you, you're not the leader. It's hilarious. I've heard people be like, well, I'm the leader of the blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. That's great. Good for you. That's excellent. Lexi's dad, who is an amazing leader, military leadership and university leadership. He's president of a university, like incredible guy. And he used to have a joke. He would say, I'm their leader. Where did they go? So if that's you, don't be that guy. That's great, or gal. Next one. Values are a more positive way to lead than an us versus them dichotomy. Both methods work, by the way. And I see too many people in the industry, and I will clarify what that means. Too many people in this industry, real estate industry, leveraging us versus them. What is us versus them? Does anyone know? See it in politics all the time. Democrats versus Republicans, Republicans versus Democrats. It's us versus them. Down with all of their ideas. What are they not doing? They're not doing the shoes exercise. They're not using the grow model with each other. They're not listening. They're not caring what the other party's true motivations are. If everybody did that, what would they find? Some middle ground. And that middle ground would allow what? Progress as a nation. Are we doing that? Not really. I mean, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to do a political thing here, but I'm just saying it works. And it creates a lot of polarity, and polarity can sell tickets to the news show, but it's not a big deal in terms of actually making progress for humans, which would be true leadership, not political gain leadership. Okay. In real estate, let's say we see it between companies. It's us versus them. They're bad. We're good. That could work for a time, but is it real leadership? It's not the best leadership, I'll say. It's not my favorite version of leadership, for sure. Does somebody have a comment? I heard a little scratch there. All right. And let's keep moving. You should respond versus react. Does anyone know what this means? What's a response? Oh, let's switch that. Let's start the other side. What's a reaction? What's a reaction? Right? You have a child. The child grabs your irreplaceable vase that your mom gave you or whatever, and she's passed for 10 years. And the child goes, boop, like a cat, knocks it over, it explodes into 100 million pieces, never to be heard from again. What is a reaction? Ah, what did you do? Ah! What is a response? And why is it different than a reaction? A response might, yeah, thank you. I saw Casey take a breath and then say something, right? Yes, a reaction. Eddie puts the expletive emoji. Thank you. Christine says immediate no thinking. That's the reaction. Responses take the extra split second to gather yourself and think, what is it that I'm trying to accomplish in this moment that's about to happen? It's allowing yourself a brief second to think before you say what you're going to say, do what you're going to do. Create a wave or a ripple or a permanent memory possibly in the universe for someone else. Is it more likely that their permanent memory will be positive or negative if you respond or react, right? You can answer that question for yourself, but it's all very clear. And how would we know? Because think for a minute in your past about somebody who has reacted to something that you did in a way that made you so angry, but they reacted to something you did. I can think of one. I got fired from a job one time. Woo, for doing the right thing, by the way. That is horrible. And this person just... Was that a reaction or a response? It was a reaction, big time. What would a response look like? Might also produce a memory. It would just produce a memory, and that memory would be called a leadership memory, because I would have understood that the thing that I did stressed them out, and their response was glorious. Wasn't in this case that I'm thinking of. But if you want to be a positive leader, then you need to give yourself that quick second to gain your strength, gain your clarity, gain your emotions, and then come to the conversation as a leader, not as a follower. Reaction is a follower response. Oops, sorry. Reaction is a follower reaction, I guess. Response is a leadership trait. There we go. Yeah, feel, felt, found. Absolutely, Eddie. That is a really important, in fact, you can do that with yourself, right? All right, let's keep going. This is good stuff. Thank you guys for being here and being so active and engaged in the chat. I can also see all of you on the camera, which is amazing. All right. Proactive versus responsive versus reactive. If you've ever spent any time with somebody who identifies as female, did I say that right? I never know what's correct these days. With a female, then you understand that being proactive is an important trait for that subset of the population. Why? Because they're highly driven by emotional responsiveness. It's a really, really important trait. And I think it's very valuable for all of us to dig into and develop a daily habit around. Why is proactive important? Because if we're proactive, then we don't have to be responsive or reactive. Doesn't work in the vase hitting the floor type of a scenario. But in a lot of other scenarios, it actually can be a catch-all that eliminates the need for reactivity or responsiveness as a sorting mechanism. So I would encourage all of you to be proactive before you're either responsive or reactive. If you can see a problem before it happens, in other words, you're going to be a much, much, much better leader. All right, let's dig into this next one. And I know that I've got, again, a lot of great stuff happening in the chat. I can't see all of it. So if somebody else could be watching that for me and give me a heads up if we need to address something, that's amazing. Leadership is pull, not push. Has anyone ever met a pushy leader before? And how much did you love being pushed around? I'm going to give you a hint. Neither does anyone else on earth, right? Being pushed feels like you lose a little bit of yourself because somebody else is now making decisions for you. If we use the grow model, what do I say? Tyler, what is your goal? And then he tells me. Whose decision is that? Tyler's. Who has all of the ownership of that decision? Tyler. Who gets to decide how he wants to get there? Tyler. Could I set some parameters and some framework around the question when I ask the question? Yes. Hey, Tyler, since you're a member of this team and we're all trying to accomplish X, Y, and Z together, what is your goal within that? That's a great question. I've set up some parameters and some boundaries, but I've given him freedom and autonomy within that to make his own decision. Is that better leadership? Then, Tyler, it's your damn job to do this. Yes. Would he feel good about that? No. I know him. He's a strong leader. He does not need to be told what to do. He needs to be given options and a growth environment with the right soil so that he can lead in the ways that he needs to lead from his chair, right? Which is an amazing thing. That's what we all do. We're all in our own chair. So what does that mean? We need to possess the ability to get other people to decide to do something. Leadership is not about telling someone else to do something. It's about helping someone else to decide that they will do it. Going back to the grow model, it's the W. Next, force is not leadership, force is pressure. Now, can force make other people do something? Yes, absolutely. Hostile takeovers, we see it all the time. This country comes in military force. Is that leadership? No, because the second the military force is gone, what happens to the other place? Do they keep behaving? No, of course not. You end up with several thousand years worth of military engagement in one location because you've executed no leadership, you only executed force. Oops. It's expensive. Next, true leaders help others to identify their best path forward, and optimally it's within the needs of the organization. That's called alignment. And alignment is so important. But it could be that their goal doesn't seem to be connected, but maybe it is, right? If I'm working together with someone incredible, hold on, let me scroll through here, see somebody else. I see Liz Boisvert on the call. If I see Liz and she says, you know what I really want to do is I want to start getting, healthy, and I'm going to run 2 miles a day. That's awesome. Could that be productive within the needs of the organization? I could see that. Healthier people tend to be happier. They tend to be more motivated. That's awesome. So maybe we're going to incorporate that as one of her, not my, goals. Right? Also, how many people on this call would be happy if anyone in your life showed up and said, hey, you need to get healthier? 0 people. Awesome, right? We don't want to be told that by anybody. It feels like a criticism, and that's not fun. So sometimes it's our job to find the alignment and then optimize from that position. Lastly, have you ever had a bad leader that tried to push you around? I already asked that one. Apparently, I didn't remember. Okay. Carry more than your fair share. By the way, the idea of fair share, I have it in quotes, because it's ridiculous. It's not real, in other words. Sometimes we use words that actually aren't real things. There is no such thing as the fair share. Life didn't come with an instruction manual. Stop being a baby. I got this is the phrase to remember. So check this out. People will follow a leader who is willing to do the stinking work with passion and energy. Lazy leaders end up alone. Lazy leaders end up alone. And I'm going to put a quote on here, and I did not serve in the military, but I respect anyone who did. And I absolutely love the Army Rangers Creed. Saw it recently, and it just hit my heart. It says this: never shall I fail my comrades. I will always keep myself mentally alert, physically strong, and morally straight, and I will shoulder more than my share of the task, whatever it may be, 100% and then some. Wow. If you read that and you don't get motivated, you are not conscious currently. That's amazing. I will shoulder more than my share of the task. Why? Because that's leadership. And their expectation, by the way, is that everyone be a leader. Let me ask you this. Would an organization be optimized if there's one leader or if everyone is a leader? Which one of those two scenarios will achieve more? Put it in the chat. One leader or everyone is a leader? Which organization will do more? Which organization will go further? Which organization will earn more money, will sell more homes, will recruit more people, will achieve more in the world, will feel better, will be a place that engenders other people to become better and the best version of themselves, right? You feel it just thinking about it. And yet, what happens so often in the leadership journey is we try to what? Make other people smaller so that we feel what? Bigger. Ouch. You would accomplish more if you made everyone around you a leader. Hear that again. I'm going to look straight into the camera so you hear this. You will accomplish more in this life when you make everyone around you into a leader. A leader. Whether they stay with you or not is irrelevant. Make them into a leader, not from a selfish position, because it makes their life better, period. When you accomplish that, you will accomplish more, but you can't do it wanting to accomplish more. That's the weird part. And it's this weird conundrum and this mental game you have to play every single day. Get out of yourself. Okay, let's keep going. A leader is only as good as their team. Yes, Lexi, I agree. And Kevin Rossioli says, empower people. I completely agree with that. Absolutely. Empowerment is the biggest thing here. Okay. So leader versus shark. Look at that scary shark. Wowzers. You got to create a safe space for growth. Create a safe space. Sharky leaders get sharky results that don't last. If there's blood in the water, people sniff it out and they get scared, right? Scared people do not emerge as leaders because they don't have a safe space to grow. There are just too many shark leaders out there. They're trying to use people to get what they want. And that's awesome to get what you want. It is not awesome to be using people like they are, I don't know, widgets. People are not widgets, they're people, and they're amazing. And when we honor them, then we emerge as great leaders, but so do they, right? Because we've created other leaders. And that is what? Third level leadership. And ideally, we're doing that through culture. And that is what? Fourth level leadership. And we're doing all of that by what? Focusing on improving ourselves. And that is first level leadership. It's foundational. So you will create a safe space for growth, which is focused on coaching, empowering, as Kevin put it. Was it Kevin? Yeah, Kevin. That's awesome. Empowering others. When you think about what Zig Ziglar said once, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help other people get what they want. What a beautiful human being he was. By the way, if you've never listened to his voice, it'll make you smile all day long, right? Zig will keep you company. It's great. And remember that you may be a leader, but you're definitely not perfect, and that is okay. And in fact, that takes us to our next conversation, which is really briefly here, and I'm going to keep this one short, about authenticity, vulnerability, and honesty, right? The most authentic person that I know in this entire world is my amazing wife and partner, Lexi Sanchez. She's awesome. And she's authentic, but she's not authentic like Instagram authentic. Like, hey, everyone, come see how authentic I am. Is that authentic? No. Authenticity means truly owning your space, whether it's convenient or not. It means understanding what your values are, even when they aren't in alignment with the crowd of people, right? It means going your own way and knowing truly and deeply who you are. And it's informed by your truth and your values, your integrity, and maintaining that at all costs. And I love that. So what I believe is that you can't fake leadership. That's good because that aligns really well with authenticity and honesty. I also believe that you must actually want to help other people. And if you actually want to help other people, then this becomes very easy to be authentic and vulnerable and honest with other people. But people's amygdala, what is the amygdala? Does anyone know? You want to put it in the, well, that's a long definition. Don't put it in the chat. All right. It's part of your brain. That's right, Tyler. And it's the part of the brain that triggers the fight or flight response, or the stick around and hang out response, right? It's really more of a reaction. It's an intuition part of the brain. That is correct, Casey. And it tells people to run away if they sniff something out that feels weird. I don't think I'm safe here. I'm going to leave now. Thanks so much. Right? Have you ever been around somebody, maybe even a leader, and that person just gave you the heeber-jeebers like crazy? Like you're like, I need to get away from this son of a gun. This is crazy. This person is in it for the wrong reasons. And I don't exactly know why, but it is very clear that it is not going to be safe for me in this environment. Have you ever been around that person? Yes, Yvette, it records trauma. The amygdala does. So If that person can detect that you are selfish or not authentically interested in their well-being, that person will move away from you in the conversation. In real estate, what do we call that sometimes? Commission breath, right? That's one version of that. You come to the appointment, you're like, just sign the damn paperwork, right? And that's what they're feeling. And they're like, yeah, I think I'm going to interview a few more people or talk to my mom or, anything other than continue this conversation because it feels awful. And they can feel that something there is not authentic to their well-being because you're not focused on them, their needs, and the with them, right? What's in it for me on their side? What's in it for them on your side? Your leadership will amplify, though, when you do not try to act like you're perfect. Wait a minute. That makes sense. Authentically honest people follow authentically honest leaders, which also means if you want to be surrounded by great people who care about others, be a great person who cares about others. If your goal in life is to be surrounded by sharky people who take advantage of other people and are just in it for themselves and will stab people in the back, including you, then be one of those people and you'll find a whole bunch more of them. Because likes attract likes. That's how it works in the world. So be authentic and honest. You're going to enjoy your life a lot more. All right, this one I feel like we've already covered, but I'm going to go a little bit of a layer deeper here because hopefully we're going to understand how to use, not just know, right? Knowing something is great. Using something is much, much more valuable. Getting someone to run hard towards something they want is easy. Getting someone to stand up and get the remote is hard because they don't want to do it. I'm comfortable already. So what does that mean? It means when you understand what someone's true goals are, remember the word really? What's really their goal? Why do they really want this? What's really in it for them? Then it's very easy to get that other person to motivate aggressively toward that goal. Why? Because it's not your goal, it's theirs. If they author the goal, then they are the authority around it, meaning they will chase it endlessly because it's theirs. It's their future. You can future pace them into their optimized future when they've achieved that goal and they can live in that space for a minute if you're good as a coach. It's really awesome. Alignment is important. We covered that before, but finding their true motivations and desires, you can work with that information instead of against it. Otherwise, you are going to be, as the leader, exhausted all the time because you're trying to make everyone run uphill, right? I had somebody tell me one time way back in the day, I used to teach trumpet students, and they said it's much easier to swim with the current instead of against the current. What did that mean for me at the time? It meant look at what they're naturally doing with the instrument and let's just optimize that instead of trying to change all of it. Right now they're swimming upstream. And so I have the same belief about human behavior, about leadership in any capacity. And the reality is that great leaders figure out where do you want to go and they help you to go there. You can corral it a little bit, but trying to be a dictator, well, it just has the word dick in it. So you can't, obviously you're going to turn into the wrong type of person. Track their goals for them. Don't wait. Track their goals. Why? Because things that are specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound or smart are much easier to achieve. And we want people to experience achievement because achievement continues a motivation cycle that's going to be important for us as leaders. If you are not tracking your progress towards your goal, how would you start? Well, you pull out a piece of paper, pin it to your wall right next to your desk where you're going to see it every single day, write down your goal, write down 5 measurable benchmarks underneath it, and then start tracking your progress. Decide when you are going to achieve each of those benchmarks and then hold yourself accountable. How would I hold myself accountable? Pick an accountability buddy, post it on Facebook, doesn't matter. It just needs to be out loud and with someone else. That's how humans work. Accountability, therefore, equals awareness and responsibility. That might seem like just words, but that last line there should be the most important thing that you see today. Accountability equals awareness plus responsibility. Awareness, I am aware of my goal. I'm aware of what I'm trying to achieve. I'm aware of how to get there. I'm aware of the clarity around who needs to do it. Responsibility, I'm the only one who can achieve it. I'm the only one. It's my damn goal. I'm going to go for it. I'm the one who has to do the work. I'm the one who's going to track it. Have any of you ever been in a leadership opportunity where somebody comes to you with a problem and you try to solve their problem? Right? That is a horrible leadership mistake. Don't take the ball. Coach. If Michael Jordan came to his coach and he's like, I'm having trouble with these free throws. And his coach was like, awesome, let me show you how to do it. And he grabbed the ball away from him, went over to the free throw line, shot a free throw and made it even. Would Michael Jordan be a better basketball player? Not a chance, because the coach just removed responsibility. Increasing responsibility would be this. Okay. What do you think you're going to do about that? Give the ball back. Here you go. Literally in this case. What are 5 options? Right? Make him list out 5 options on it. Well, I could do 10,000 free throws a day or a week or whatever it was he did. It was some unbelievable number. Or I could get just a free throw coach, somebody who's truly epic and has achieved what I'm trying to achieve. Or I could do more strength and conditioning training. And then maybe he would say something like, I don't know past that. And then you could say, as their coach / leader, you could say, well, if you did know, what would it be? If you had to know, what would you come up with? If you had to have 5, how would we get there? You'll notice I'm leading by asking what? Questions. Not making what? Statements. Statements are challenging for people because it's top of the mountain form of leadership. If I come to Mike Holt, who I'm going to unmute here in a second. If I come to Mike Holt and I tell him what he needs to be doing in his life, he will tune out so dang fast, it'll make your head spin right off and just fly right off your body. But if I ask Mike what he's trying to get and how he wants to get there, and then what he really wants to do and how he's going to do it, and if he wants to be accountable to that, and those are great questions, but I'm not giving him the recipe. I'm asking him how he's going to become a great chef. All right, Mike, what's up, brother? It's good to see you, man. Hold on, get you unmuted there.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man? This stuff right here gets my blood flowing big time. I love this topic. I've had the great pleasure and opportunity to be a football coach now for 13 years. I absolutely love that job. All right. I'll tell you, I've won a couple of state championships and I've been on some really bad teams. All right. You would have what you would consider the more vocal leaders, right, on the teams that were really bad, because they would always say the right things. They would always try to do the right things themselves and lead vocally. All right. I prefer, and I'm extremely fortunate, the team I'm coaching this year, to have people who are problem solvers, right? They see a problem and they come to you with solutions, right? And when you've got a team full of those people, the opportunities are endless. The growth is endless, and it's absolutely amazing to see. And you can foster that environment, right? Like you can foster that by leading by example, by always having something ready to go, right? Like there's a problem in every day, right? Like we all encounter problems every single day. Rather than being the person to complain about it, try to find a solution. Even if you're not the one that can fix it, have a solution ready for the people that can. And that's what we try to get out of all of our players and everybody that's on my team or anybody I associate with. And it's so much better when we have those types of people. And I love the fact that we're getting to learn this from one of the best, man. I really do appreciate you.
Oh, thanks, brother. Well, my head just grew a couple sizes. I apologize for that. So hopefully it still fits in the screen. Mike is amazing. And if anyone doesn't know, if you've got a referral for anywhere in Tennessee, shoot it out to him. He knows a lot of people. Mike's an awesome agent and a great team leader. So by the way, I will say this. In that exact environment, what a perfect opportunity to build leadership skills and to work with others. But Mike just said it. You can build an environment where that is engendered, where that is encouraged, where solving your own problems is celebrated. In fact, there's a song that Lexi and I listen to sometimes. We have a really kind of positive playlist that we listen to. And one of the lyrics in the song, it chokes me up every single time I hear it, is be the person that you needed when you were younger. Dude, if that doesn't hit your heart, like, I don't even know. That's who you need to be. Be the person that you needed when you were younger. That should hit you. It's hitting my emotions right now. So anyway, that should hit you. Because all of us needed something, and then we just turned out to be whatever version of ourselves we turned out to be. But guess what? It's not over. How do I know? You're here. Right? So it's never over. The journey is just beginning every day. Right? There's an amazing book. Lexi, if you'll post it, I'm drawing a blank. And the quote from the book is that every single breath, we are a new person. What book is that, hon? Such a good book, and I want to make sure people are aware of it. If you're still out there, otherwise I'll find it here in a minute. But that concept is so tremendously important for all of us. Thank you. And so what I would encourage you to do is to be building leaders around you. Doesn't matter. That could be a Pee-wee league, T-ball team. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Developing your leadership starts with who? You. And you are the same no matter what environment, hopefully. And drawing championship level results out of middle schoolers is identical to out of 40-year-olds, is identical to out of 50-year-olds, is identical to out of 60-year-olds. It does not matter their age. It does not matter their intellect. It matters about you. If you're blaming the team, it's still you. If your team is failing, you don't have a crappy team. There's one unifying factor to all of those people, and that's you. So look for the suck by looking in the mirror. All right. The Earned Life is the name of the book. Thank you very much. Oh my gosh, Lexi, that's awesome. The Earned Life. Yeah. Awesome, awesome text and such a great concept in there. She introduced me to that book and really, really impactful stuff. One of Lexi's favorites. So you're getting the good stuff here today, guys. All right. From the private collection. Do the hard stuff. What does that mean? Do the hard stuff. This is not a drugs reference, guys. All right. People need inspiration. You're going to need to inspire them. How do we inspire others? Well, I don't know. What are you inspired by? Has anything ever inspired you? Well, accomplishment is inspiring. You don't need to have accomplished the same thing as the other person. Leaders who haven't accomplished anything, though, are going to have a very hard road in front of them. However, you can go accomplish anything specific to your field of leadership. For that matter, I believe you can accomplish anything at all. But accomplishing something is going to be important. Think to your past. Walking the talk is what inspires people. Yes. It's going to require a lot from you to be a great leader. So you need to understand what I will call pinnacle level human achievement is. Mastery of something. And this can be in any area of your life. I see people sometimes doing 75 hard. I lost 100 pounds. That's amazing. Go lose 100 pounds, right? Why? Because that's self-dedication. It's self-control. It's perseverance. It's a lot of things. It's hard to do, right? I've lost a lot of weight before. It sucks. It's really tough. You have to stick with it. It's hard. It takes time. It takes sticking with something. It takes courage. Why is that important? Because those are great leadership skills. So build that. And then be willing to tell that story in a vulnerable way. I'll tell you guys, I used to be a big old blubby bag of dough, right? It was not cute. I would walk upstairs one flight and be out of breath. This is a vulnerability moment. But guess what? There came a point where I decided I wanted to change that. I could go into why, but then I'll start crying on the call, so that's not going to be helpful for anybody. All right. If it's production that you want to focus on, go sell a lot of houses. Well, I don't know how to do that. Yeah, but if you did know, what would you do? What are 5 options? Look at us doing grow coaching as a group. If it's agent attraction, Kimmy said that was part of her vision. I love that. Attract a lot of agents. That's such a dumb statement, Jeff. No, it isn't, because that's the goal. That's only the start of the process. That's not the process. The process is what's your reality. Well, I've already brought 2 in. That's great. What other options do you have to increase your reach out there and help more people? By the way, everybody comes into real estate, says, I want to help people. And then you tell them, hey, would you recruit some agents to the best real estate company in the world? I don't want to help those people. But they're people too, with families, children, dreams, retirement goals, etc., medical concerns, whatever. They're still just people. We're in the business of helping people. So help people, and you'll help a lot more people. That felt redundant. All right. I'm going to segue in a second, so don't leave yet, because I got more after this. But I am going to pop on a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek bonus offer here, but I want to make sure that, because this is gold for me, and I feel connected to this. So here's a little quote from me. Your environment creates your results. If you don't have the results that you want, get a new environment. I'm going to repeat that whole thing. Your environment creates your results. If you don't have the results you want, get a new environment. Now, if you are a guest with us today, you are in the right damn environment, and you couldn't figure that out today. I don't know what's wrong with you. This is the right environment for successful people who want to help other people be even more successful. But if you're a guest with us today, then partner with us and get more out of business and life. All right, there's my sales pitch for today. I couldn't be a true salesman if I didn't close at some point. If you're not already a member of the community, reach out to the member who invited you here today and learn how to join. This is the place, man. It's sick. We're at the best real estate company in the world, and you're with the best growth group at the best company. I want you here, and so does somebody that cared enough about you to try to change your life today, and I'm excited about that. Now, here, we're going to pivot right back into the content. I want all of you to develop your leadership, but I want to hear some thoughts, some things that are really, really important. And yes, anyone who's not at EXP is welcome to come to this call. I had somebody just ask me that in the chat privately. That's part of what we do here. This is an open forum. I want them to get a little bit of a taste of what's under the hood here. This is only a scratch, by the way. You got to scratch and then sniff, or I don't know how that works. Anyway, I screwed up the metaphor. All right. So, but yeah, absolutely. I would love for people to come and experience what it is that we're doing and why we're so successful agent to agent across this organization. And guess what? I want to hear from you guys on what does your leadership journey look like now with some of the information that you've gotten today? What are your thoughts? What are your perspectives? What are your shifting thoughts? What are you going to use from today? What was your key aha? And by the way, don't be shy, because remember, first off, leaders participate big all the time. Second off, though, please remember that somebody else may be a little more timid than you, and they might be wanting to talk about the same thing that you're wanting to talk about. Be willing to unmute yourself and just jump in. Go.
All right, I unmuted myself. So
Love it.
Here's my aha, and I love coming to these, Jeff. It's always powerful. I feel like I need to give you my credit card number because I should be paying for this. You know what I'm saying? But here's an aha, and it just reiterates. I wasn't the leader I was last year. Wasn't the leader I was before. I'm growing every year. And I know a year from now, being in this group, it's going to help me become a better leader. So, with me, with leadership, it's always about growing and learning and taking responsibility. I learned a saying a long time ago: if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten. So just keep growing as a leader, and you will just blow it out of the water. That's my aha.
Wow. Somebody write that one down. If you're green, you're growing. And if you're ripe, you're rotten. Yikes. Right? If you think you've already made it, then you're rotten. Nobody wants to be rotten, right? Take a shower, get started at growing again. And guess what? If you're not growing, it's because you're in the wrong environment. So if you're a guest, guess what I'm saying again? All right. I saw Derek unmute himself. Derek, were you jumping in?
I'm just going to be vulnerable here. I didn't jump into this business 4 years ago to be anything but just me. And now I'm in the process of creating a team, and it's super exciting. And what I'm loving to hear is that I don't think I'm doing things wrong, but I can certainly get better at listening and creating just some good values. So
I love that.
That's what I'm taking away, is create the values, and they will follow, hopefully.
That's it. Yeah. And it's a bit like leadership is a lot like a trust fall. Actually, did you ever do those when you were younger, Derek?
No.
Okay.
No.
So a trust fall is like you go to a ropes course. It's one of those things where you put your arms out and then you fall backward and somebody catches you. And it's a little crazy. It really screws with your head because you're like, are they really back there? Are they really going to catch me? Is this going to be okay? And it messes with your mind. Just trust me on that one. Leadership is a little bit like that. And I believe that the best leaders are the ones that I'm most enthusiastically in support of. Are people who believe in culture before compensation. They believe in people before profits. And when you put those values out into the world, guess what happens? People organically start to show up and follow you. And the people who are already in your sphere will be like your ride or die homies, right? Yeah. And those people will take that vision and they'll go with it. Why? Because that's a vision worth going with anyway.
No, one of the things that you said that just kind of blew me away is, and I'm not going to say this right, is be the person you wanted to be when you were younger,
that you wish you had when you were growing up.
Yeah, when I was growing up. Yeah, I mean that was just amazing. Didn't have any guidance growing up, so I guess I'm just going to try and be that person for my people. So anyway, I love that. Thank you for everything.
It's my pleasure. And I just muted myself. That didn't help. Just so everyone understands, today is part of my personal leadership journey. Am I getting something out of today? Abso-freaking-lutely. Here's what I'm getting. I am learning in this moment how to extend a vision for leadership into an organization that I truly care about. Am I doing a perfect job? No. Guess what? I don't care. My optimism and my hallucination is that I will have made some impact in here, and hopefully that there's a trickle through effect, right? I believe in paying it forward. It's the beauty in what we do at EXP. Well, doesn't EXP have this thing where one person can bring some other people in and then those people bring some people in? Yes. Guess what? That's called caring about people. First off, every organization on the planet has it. Second off, it's the thing that creates what Lexi calls a positivity loop inside EXP. When we all truly care about each other and each other's success, then success begets success, which begets further success, which means I can focus myself entirely on paying it forward. Other people have done amazing things for me. I've had incredible coaches and mentors and people who just poured their life and energy into me. Some of them for money, true. Some of them just because they cared. And I paid some of them, but some of them I got to pay it forward. And I want you guys to do that too. Today is FREE, free, free. So go pay it forward and help other people. I like that. Guess what? Joanne Graham's in the house. What's up, Joanne?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Between the two. Anyway, so my weakness is that I'm not really good at asking questions. I'm more like, I've got it figured out what you need to do. And so let me just tell you. And my husband, Ricky's like, ask questions. And you seemed so natural when you were asking Kimmy all those questions, but I feel like I come across like I'm interrogating someone when I try to, well, why do you care about that? Oh, why that? Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to adjust my style because I'm very pointed and, I come across the wrong way. Even though I care about people deeply, and anybody that's spent any time with me knows that I do. But anyway, I just thought, is this just a matter of practice or what? Because you seem so natural at it and I feel so dumb at it because I'm just feeling like I feel like I'm in the white room, interrogating people and I don't get that same reciprocal,
I love it. Yeah. The FBI interrogation. So shine the bright light, I love it. Joanne, first off, so if anyone doesn't know Joanne, truth be told, she is a wonderfully incredible person. And she is one of the highest high D on the disc females I've ever met, which means not only does she know exactly what you should be doing, but she'll tell you. And that is an awesome trait. However, as a leader, it's our job to always kind of be aware of the car in front of us so we don't smash into them. Think about that as just kind of a continuous metaphor, Joanne. And
so
I
say that because Ricky's like, you should see the tires in front of you when you stop. And I'm always like,
well, I didn't mean literally, but apparently that too. Not surprised. I'm not surprised. And guess what? I have the greatest indicator of who Joanne is as a person because I've met her son and he's awesome. He's awesome. Such a cool person. And you can tell a lot about people sometimes by figuring out where their greatest leadership journey has led. There's one. So the reality is, Joanne, that leading with questions is challenging. I live with someone full time, right? And Lexi will tell you that I do not do this all the time very successfully. So yes, it is always a journey. It's always not a destination. There is not a destination. It's all about the journey, in fact. If you ever talk to any professional athlete or professional musician or professional artist, somebody who's really pursuing avidly some art form or science of achievement, what they will tell you is that there's no there. There's no it. Doesn't matter who your favorite athlete was. It could be Michael Jordan or Kobe or, Tom Brady or whatever. Whoever your pinnacle person is, doesn't matter. Don't judge me for naming names if you don't like them. But every single one of those people, if you ask them at the height of their game, have you made it? They would push back on that and they would say it's all about the journey. It's all about the process. It's not even about the progress. It's always about the process. So the process, Joanne, is just increasing what? We said awareness and responsibility. It's your responsibility to be asking questions as a great leader, and then awareness. How would you increase that? Well, maybe put reminders around so that you remember to ask great questions. Don't just ask questions. That's an interrogation. Ask great questions. Ask meaningful questions. Ask questions that dig to the heart of the person that's in front of you. And when you do that, they will move towards you, not away from you. If you ask interrogation questions, it might actually cause someone to lean back physically like they do in an interrogation, right? And I love that you already have that perspective and that awareness. That's important. And it tells me a lot about why you're already such a great leader. And you are, by the way, already such a great leader. John Sellers, what's up? We got John Sellers in the house, everyone.
Hey, buddy.
man.
Hey, everybody. Hey, so Jeff, I have a question. So, let's say we talked about those levels, right? So let's say we've mastered, somebody's mastered the mastery of themselves, which I think people don't realize that that's such a big deal. And so let's say they've mastered leadership for themselves. And I see that with a lot of real estate agents. They've mastered that piece. They know how to get deals. Like Derek said, I know how to get deals. I know how to be disciplined enough to get that piece going. And yet I see a lot of people don't take that next step to leading others or be willing to lead others. What is that roadblock? Why is it a fear thing? Is it a selfishness thing? Is it insecurities? What? And I mean, I know with me, I know that's some of it with me and their fear and these things that play into that. What do you think?
I think it's fear. Absolutely. Usually whenever there's something that we might want and then don't pursue it, it's generally there's some fear. And what I would ask yourself, remember it earlier today in the story, we talked about the word really. And so if it is a fear and you feel like you're afraid of it, try to label it. Well, I'm afraid that people will reject me. Okay, fine. And then ask yourself again, what am I really afraid of there? And that's going to go a level deeper. And if you're true and authentic with yourself, first off, that is first level leadership. And first level leadership, just like all the other levels, is not a destination. It's a journey, right? So we may have to just keep circling back until we can unlock that next layer of potential. But my belief here is that people who are constantly engaging in building themselves as a leader, as a human, in terms of their own potential, but also in terms of who they are at their core, those people organically, John, you're a great example of this, will lead. Because leadership actually is about being a servant, not about being on top, not about being a teller or telling other people what to do. It's about helping other people. And the truth of the matter is, if you're really, truly focused on improving yourself, then your heart grows over time, right? It's like the Grinch at the end of the Grinch movie, right? It expanded 10 times too large or whatever it was. I don't remember. And then explodes out of his chest. And it's very weird as an analogy. But I will tell you, I think what happens over time is your empathy grows and you start caring about other people. John, I've seen this with you and you've guided me partly with this, right? In terms of being a coach and a mentor in my own leadership journey. The bottom line is, as your own care and empathy has grown, so has your ability to lead others. And I think that's true for all of us. So I'm just trying to kind of do my part today to hopefully spread that word and encourage other people. If you have a fear about helping others or about telling others or about, if you're at EXP, about introducing other people to something that has literally changed your life, that is a fear. It's not a consequence. There's nothing wrong with telling other people that you love a movie or that you love a restaurant or that you love your brokerage.
Well, I see it like you said, it is like, I see so many people on this call. I see so many people in our organization that are super talented, that are super inspirational. And for some reason, they're not letting themselves step into that next level that is going to take their life to the next level. They're, so I encourage people to think about that as like, go out and test this, try this. We're moving through it all the time. Take the risk, get uncomfortable, because it is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable stepping out of our comfort zone into that leadership position. And Jeff and I both feel it. It's not easy to be on these calls. It's not easy. We feel like we're screwing up all the time. Totally. I feel like, oh, did I say the right thing? Did I get the right emails out to Kimmy? Oh, it's blocked on her email. It's not going. Oh, I feel stupid. It should have been perfect. And I call Kimmy, we're doing our best. I don't know why you're blocked. We'll get it figured out. And Kimmy's like, okay, thank you. You called me. But I think that's what I encourage everyone is just to keep, you don't have to be perfect because Lord knows I'm not. I know Jeff's not. Not at all. We both feel that way, but we keep trying, and that's keep moving up that scale and keep leading ourselves better and then moving to that next step to the best of your ability.
Totally agree, John, and really, really great coaching and inspiration there. And by the way, if anybody doesn't know, John Sellers is an incredible coach. By the way, check out his YouTube channel if you want like regular inspiration and tips for how to become a top producer the way that he has, and also top growth leader at EXP. Really quickly, before we go to the next person, I saw Lexi post here in the chat, when leadership turns from responsibility for everyone to leadership to everyone, it becomes genuine and less of a burden. And in inspire really means to fill. So that means helping others fill their potential, their hearts, etc. Couldn't agree more. Always inspiring. Thank you, Lexi. Joe Yates, what's up, my man?
What's up, amigo? Hey, as far as it was funny because one of my ahas on something that you had said, and then in conjunction with people not stepping into who they're supposed to be, it seems like a lot of people just don't feel worthy of taking that leadership role. Who am I to think that I can talk to these people? Who am I to? And there's so many people that have so much value. Every time somebody starts to talk, you go, wow, that's anybody, we can learn from anybody, right? So when you were saying earlier that who was Michael Jordan's coach? Phil Jackson. Could he shoot the ball like Michael Jordan? No, he was an NBA player, but he couldn't shoot the ball like Michael Jordan. So you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be able to help people in other ways where that you might be able to sew into them. There's a lot of people on this call. I'll never produce like them. I'm not going to run the team they run. They're going to do a lot of different things. They're going to outshine me in many, many ways. But yet at the same time, I know I can provide value in a lot of ways to them and help them in other aspects and stuff like that.
100%.
That having been said, 3 years ago, I didn't even know that was true. 3 years ago, I knew I was really good at being Joe Yates, the sales guy, but I was much less confident in being Joe Yates, the mentor, Joe Yates, the sales coach, the trainer, whatever it might be. Maybe it's been 4 years, but it's been an evolutionary type thing. And once you get thrust into those positions, and you realize you can do it, everybody does it at different levels. Like I've joked before that I'm one of the least techie people, on this call. However, in my house, I'm the tech guy. That's pathetic. But I'm the one that they go, my computer won't work, because we don't have kids in here in the house. So it's like, well, let me take a look at it, honey. And all of a sudden, I'm the leader, I'm the go-to. And so we have to realize that we can take some of these things. We're always that to somebody. And in this call, you can do it. You don't have to be like Kimmy. I love what Kimmy is doing. She's doing so freaking outstanding. She's taking everything that she knows about her history in the business, things that she's done before, and she's seeing what we have going over here. She's excited by it. And she's not doing well, I need to be there for 2 years before I start talking to people because I need to be uber confident on it. She's just going out and talking to people and sharing her excitement, and she's going to have an amazing success with that. So I think we can all learn from that. And just that little bit that she shared right there, it's like, hey, the more that she could jump on and start talking to people just about her excitement. And all of a sudden, I've shared her excitement with other guys just to re-energize us.
I love it.
This is the way we're supposed to feel every day. So anyway, the whole thing is, you are worthy of coaching, training, and mentoring others. Just freaking jump in.
I love that. That's amazing and so unbelievably true. And I think Joe just emphasized something that we all know deep within our hearts, which is our leadership journey is never over. It's never over. You will never achieve it. You will never arrive at leadership mecca and everyone will be standing around drinking coffee, high-fiving, like congrats on finishing the leadership 10K. It doesn't work that way. Guess what? Leadership is a process, and it's just a decision to stay in the stream for a prolonged period of time and continue to work on yourself and therefore work through yourself to hopefully be in the service of and the benefit of others. Lexi Sanchez, I see you. I'm going to get you there. And then Mike Holt, we got two more. Lexi.
Okay, so I just wanted to go back to what Joanne was saying about asking questions, because it is really tough to not sound overly scripted or dry or like you are, conducting some sort of an interrogation. But if you, Joanne, are you still there? Can you unmute for a second? Maybe she's not. But here's the way I think about it. If any of you guys have ever been, out to lunch with a friend or talking to your partner or someone who knows you well, and you're trying to work through something and they're like, how's it going? You're like, it's okay. And they start asking you questions and you begin through your, answering those questions, begin to understand yourself better. That's what the questions are that you're asking when you're in a leadership role. So when you're truly asking about, just so that you can understand at a really, really deep level what they mean by what they're saying, there are no answers from your side of it. You're just helping them to kind of discover exactly what they're talking about and exactly what they mean. And whenever I am in that position with someone and asking a lot of questions, I just try, like, if it doesn't feel like I've gotten a real, true, deep, meaningful answer, I just keep asking.
I love that. It's digging deeper and deeper until you find something that actually has meaning to you, and that meaning must be connected to an emotion.
Right. But that's your job as the leader, is to facilitate that. And
Totally
so
agree.
if you think of it as really, truly coming from curiosity and just trying to get to the deepest possible answer, to where they have that aha moment of like, oh, wait, this really is about X, Y, and Z, then now you've hit pay dirt.
I love that. That's awesome. And such a great point, and part of why you are such an amazing leader, Lexi. Mike Holt.
All right, man. So again, this is a topic that I could speak on all day. I know we've only got a minute left, so I'll finish real quickly. There's two things. One, not everybody feels that they are a leader because they feel that leadership is something that they have to do, right? Like that they're going to be the face of something. My wife is a perfect example of that. She is by far the smartest person I've ever met. She's a savant in many ways. And she's a doctor, and she knows that she's good, but she never felt like she was a leader until she kind of got forced into that role when we moved back to Tennessee. Now that she's in a leadership role, she gets to help young nurses, young doctors, young providers, everybody around her grow through her knowledge of the medical field. And she was kind of thrust into that position because there were so many new people. And the thing that she has learned is that she doesn't learn by doing. She's learning by asking the right questions, right? Like seeing and paying attention and being present and knowing what areas of weakness other people have. And if we're more present and we pay attention to those around us and we just listen, even if we're not asking questions, a lot of times there are going to be clues, right? Like people will leave the breadcrumbs. All we've got to do is pick them up. And that's her leadership style. She's not like a forceful person at all. She is present. And that's what makes her such an amazing leader. I mean, she's winning awards for it now. We've only been back for 6 months, and the company that she's working for has recognized her as the best teacher they've ever had. And it is an amazing thing to see because she's never been a leader. She's never felt was. So she just leads by example. And so I would say to Derek and those other guys who are just killing it in production and trying to grow a team and things of that nature, that don't really, feel leader ability, I guess. Like, have trust in yourself and just be present, guys. Like, that is the key. And I love everybody here. The next thing that I was going to say too is, if I ever have to be the tech guy, like Joe said he was in his house, we're screwed. Like, we're just going to go without. I'm awful.
Mike can't even turn on the lights. There you go. I love it. And totally love that story and kind of lesson from the trenches, Mike. The reality and if here's my one hope for this entire call today. My hope is that you go out and you look for opportunities to provide more value, more help, more conscious engagement with other people's goals in your universe, because it will build you as a human being. It'll build you as a salesperson. It'll build you as an agent attractor. It will build you as a spouse, as a parent, as a whatever it is, however you engage with other human beings in your life. This is how you grow. Leadership is the key to the whole thing. Talk to John Maxwell. He'll tell you that right off the bat, right? So leadership is the skeleton key that unlocks all of your potential. If you don't think that you're selling enough, lead the marketplace. Lead, right? Lead doesn't mean being number one. Lead means create a bigger impact. Look for opportunities to help more people. And so hopefully that's gotten through today. Thank you guys so unbelievably much for being here today, for being the very best part of the community. It's always my privilege and honor to be here on these calls. And we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
So good. So good.
I appreciate it.